Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Friday. Woohoo! End of the week. I hope you've got good plans. Thank you for joining me once again. Andy the Gabby Cabby. Well, yesterday I did a video about being a sovereign citizen or turning up and saying I do not consent. A sovereign citizen is someone who removes themselves from the UK corporation, I suppose you could call it. Deregisters themselves from things that could entrap them into all the legislation and laws and everything else, and generally try and live their own life under their own law and way of doing things. And one of these things, of course, is if you have a polling card delivered, you say, nothing to do with me, send it back, get my name off that here electoral register that you've got and never bother me again. Well, I made the point that all the people that do that, do they cause a bit of a problem for the rest of us in that it reduces the amount of a registered electorate which could actually come out and make a difference? So, for example, I said about London 8 years ago, nearly 4 million people didn't vote. So how many of those were sovereign citizens? How many of those thought, well, sod it, there's no point. Look what happened. And I hope the same thing doesn't happen again, which we will find out imminently. Lots of comments, and I wanted to read through some of them to see what you had to say. So here we go. Right, here's the video. Roy Boy, not really, Andy. I feel I'm being exploited by the government, and therefore I'm a cash cow for their total disregard of my and our money. Well, yeah, they look at trying to take it off of us any which way they can, can't they? And you just think, enough. Bernard, with you on this, Andy, did today as you described. I assume went out and voted. Were you in London or elsewhere, Bernard? Only Bugwit. I got my polling card with only 3 candidates, Lib Dems, Labour and Conservatives. What sort of choice is that? With a black flag on the end. If it was me, I would go down there and I would write, I do not consent. And as many people as possible should do that if you've got a card with effectively no choice. The only choice with that card, of course, is sticking with the system we have. Not good. Another one from Only Bugwit. If Vobes didn't want to vote, why is he on the electoral register? Well, he asked to get taken off of it. No, apparently didn't. So sent him a polling card. I know somebody said you can get yourself removed from it. So I have to see. Cal Extra have not voted for 30 years. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. Is that disenfranchisement? It won't make any difference. Or, why bother? Jack Plug, sovereign citicised equals soft in their head. My friend, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, said on his thing, Police Off the Cuff, they're doing a great line at the moment about a group that call themselves God's Misfits. And he said, sovereign citizens try and, live outside of the law. But when a police officer pulls them up for speeding, for example, they're just going to get physically removed from their car if they don't comply. So it's, what kind of world are you prepared to live in and what kind of stress are you prepared to give yourself? Dean Daniels, I don't think it will make any difference if you vote or not. They still don't listen to the people. Strength in numbers, I think, and perhaps they have to. User, I have voted just tonight. I had a busy day today, so left it till now. It was police commissioner. I chose more officers. Person unwise? Yeah. I don't think this police commissioner thing is much cop, to be honest. It's just decentralising something which should never have been. And again, you look at America, police commissioner, Commissioner Gordon. Doesn't work for me. Mickey, well done, fella. Even Wikipedia have put a nice little strap upon your post. However, how can only be sovereign and how can one be sovereign and a citizen. You make a good point. You're either a citizen of the UK corporation or you're sovereign. You can't be both. Mark McCabe, they're all the same. The whole corrupt system needs changing. I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. Planet Bertie, I do not consent was my vote today. Well done, Planet Bertie. That's great. And somebody that understands the impact of that statement. Sarth Vader. I love it. Politicians don't have any power anymore. The whole setup is nothing more than theatre. Yet the majority of folk believe it's our choice. I think it is theatre. It's a pantomime played out between two parties who are trying to maintain control. Doesn't work. GeoNeo9, our birth certificate says we are corporate people, not sovereign. It's called legal name fraud. It is illegal to use a legal name. The reason they do this is under a universal law. A corporation can't make a contract with a sovereign, being only other corporations. I saw a great piece, and it was on Richard Globes again, where they were talking about a dormant limited company called your given name at birth. And it apparently changes the goalposts. I'd love to see how that works. Mr. House 3826, I somewhat agree, Andy, but for those that have declared themselves to be sovereign, they cannot vote, as what it creates joinder with a corporation, the government. Secondly, could you please explain how one would vote I do not consent, as writing it across the ballot paper would just mean it's a spoilt ballot? It's the wording, I do not consent. If you write none of the above or I'm not interested or anything like that, then, you know, that is a spoilt ballot. But there is, if you Google it and look into it, older law which says I do not consent is actually applicable. And if, I think it's something like 70% of the country went and wrote I do not consent, it would be a very different kettle of fish the morning after. P. Beasley, if you don't vote, you don't need to consent. Also, if you don't vote, you're just handing them agreement to carry on as they please. Look what happened in 2010. Ken, I used to watch Richard Globes' videos, but over time he became more and more ridiculous. It doesn't surprise me at all that he now considers himself to be a sov sit. You know, it's a matter of opinion, isn't it, Ken? Some of the stuff I think, oh my God, but overall I like him. I like his way of storytelling. I like the way he expresses his views. No, it's quite relaxing listening, and it just, you can use your imagination and go somewhere else, you know. Brian Gibson, I'm voting for reform. We need to help these toffee-nosed bastards out. Yeah, we need to break away from the system, don't we? We need to be in a place where we realise there's no longer a choice. I mean, I'm between Conservative and Labour, it's bigger. I mean, I've got lots of people telling me right now, you've got to vote Conservative to keep Sadiq Khan out this time round, and then next time round we can go, well, why can't we do it this time round? Is it just me? You know, let me know. Is that Tan Lager? I'm annoyed as I came across several people who said they didn't bother to vote. We're just never going to get rid of ourselves of the two-party creeps. If only a small number only come out and vote. The apathy amongst people in this country is chronic. I agree with you. Totally agree with you. We've got to do something. If we sit on our hands, yet again, it's just that tacit agreement for them to carry on as they please, and nothing's ever going to change. I can't put it any plainer than that. Some wonderful comments there. A bit of a cross-section of your different views, and it's always good to have a cross-section, actually. Please, as always, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are growing, and it's good to see. And share me on your social media. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.